Pinigor na eh. Hindi ko. Ay! Ay, no.
Today, we want to take a look at new unexplained ghost phenomena found from all over the internet. If you are a believer or not, you must admit that things happen on this earth that cannot always be explained. Here are some new ghost videos caught on tape. This clip was sent in by Frostmare viewer Ben Desharila. He told me that he was hearing strange noises at the time and was noticing flashing lights in his living room. When he was taking this recording, nothing was visible on camera, and he is sure that it was not his own shadow, since he could recreate it. He suspects it could be some sort of boogeyman, or one of the 3 people that died in this building. What do you think? The next video was recorded in an office building in India by a worker who stated that he was seeing misty shapes once in a while. Could it be real? An old clip recorded at the haunted Queen Mary ship. Could this be proof of their existence? This footage was taken in Singapore and apparently shows the reason for nightly disturbances in this building. Videotapes and unexplainable footage uncovered regularly in different places in the world. Not every clip makes sense to the viewers, and some even leave the audience in a disturbing and eerie state. Let's take a look at disturbing and scary YouTube videos. The first clip was recorded by a snake cam in a sewer located in Maine. What was believed to be an unknown life form apparently now has been identified by a viewer as tabbyflex worms. Could he be right? This video was recorded by two men who disappeared in 2006 while driving through a forest. It is said that they were trying to take a shortcut. At least, this is what the legend says about this recording. Real or not, the video gives one goosebumps.
Kamera? Ja. Så du hvor det ble, eller? Ja. Faen, det kan det. Just det. Det er faen meg overalt.
we see the famous and very old recording called Ghost Girl. It was recorded by two workmen who were hired to renovate the interior of a building in Texas. If you listen closely, you can even hear EVPs throughout the video.
You heard some noises? What'd you hear? A la verga. She's here, dog. Doors are closing, dog. They are closing. Hey, Tom! Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I got her, dog!
A mile and a half underwater, an alien-like long-armed squid was recorded in this old video. Some do say they certainly remind you of the infamous facehuggers. In 2006, a creature called the Fallen Angel has been caught on tape in this recording, filmed by two men who were exploring a forest at night.
Mira, 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 mira. Es que tío, yo qué sé, tío, se llaman plumas, tío. ¿Más uno? Home, tio, ja veus si se'n diu des de fa rato que se'n diu que sí, collons, que sí, hòstia. Escolta, ho sents o no? Puta, tio. Ei, va, corre, corre, hòstia, va!
A CCTV camera in a hotel has caught this creature on tape. Some believe it is a ghost, others think it could be something even more sinister.
both of your illustrations. The final step in the process is to prepare your work for presentation. You can put your name on the cover sheet, you can put the project on the cover sheet, and when you go present it to someone, they'll really show that you put your effort into not only the illustrations that you've done, but also showing them that you care about your art. Some of the materials that you'll need to create a cover sheet are, of course, you'll need some scissors, you'll need some tape. I like to use the thick masking tape. You'll need some double-sided tape to put your image onto a mat board. You'll need, of course, your image and mat board, and a large piece of paper. Once you have your image mounted to the mat board, take your large piece of paper and place it over the image itself. You'll want to cut the paper so that it's slightly longer than the mat board your artwork is mounted to.
Victorine mine. I believe this was an older mine that once they dug the upper tunnels, this got incorporated into the same claim or whatever. I forget what this was called, this particular mine entrance here, but this one's got a little bit of water in it coming out of it. Not much. Let me just take a quick look. I don't think I'm going to explore this particular mine. There's a little bit too much water in here, and I know this mine is really old. Okay, here's a shot looking down at it from just inside the portal, and some water here and there. So I'll go up here just a little bit further and see if it dries out any. Okay, a little further inside the tunnel here. Now there's still water. You can see it really flowing here in front of me, right here. It's coming out here, out the tunnel. Yeah, this looks pretty sketchy. I'll go a few feet further in and check it out, but I think I'm going to pass on this one. This is one of the creepiest mine tunnels I've ever been in, just because of how dilapidated it is, and all these chains hanging down from the overhead, and there's a shot looking down the tunnel even further, but still pretty wet. Taking a look around here back at the entrance, which is there. Okay, here's a shot looking back towards the entrance. I'm a little bit further in, and looking down the tunnel here. I don't know why that one chain is swinging back there. Don't know if you can see that in the video or not. Yeah, this mine definitely has a very spooky vibe to it. So I'm going to head back out and check out the other stuff that's here. This is too wet, too muddy. And obviously something is making the chains swing, so. At the bottom of the tailings of the Victorine mine, looking straight up the mountainside, all these tailings, and the Victorine mine is up there under the ridge. You can't see from down here, obviously. And the Horton mine is over here to the right. That's where I'm headed. The Horton mine still has some water coming out of it. You can see it kind of pulled up here outside, and here's the portal. So let's go check this out, see if it's any drier than it was a year ago when I was last here. So this tunnel It's very sketchy, and it still has a very, very creepy vibe. But we'll keep going forward. Okay, I'm further in than I was a year ago, and that's how far I've come. Getting deeper, here is some kind of backfilled area on the other side of the tunnel. More ventilation tubing. And there's a lot of water up here coming in from somewhere. Well, I believe I've reached the end of the tunnel. I thought it was going to be a lot longer than this. I'd read 600 feet. Here's looking back at the portal. I don't know if that's 600 feet or not, but maybe more like 400. But I think the water is coming down the ore pass, the vertical shaft here at the end of the tunnel. So let me make my way over there with all this mud and check it out. Okay, right there's where the water's coming from, and right above that you can see the metal ore chute that is part of the ore pass coming down there at an angle. And that came down right over here to this horizontal section right here. And then the ore was probably dumped out into the waiting tram car. And then they would just haul it out the tunnel in these motorized tram cars to the portal. Okay, you can see some ladders there going up. There's one right there going up at an angle, and then there's one right above the ore chute right there. I don't know if there was a manway in the ore pass or not. There probably was. And that would probably go up about 800, 900 feet to the opening that's outside the Victorine mine. And right here is the end of the ore pass. You can see a grizzly in there, the bars, and that would hold back the rocks that were too big to fit through, while the small rocks would tumble through into the tram car that would wait right here, and then it would drive it right out the tunnel. Okay, here's a final parting shot of the end of the Horton Tunnel. And there's the ore pass with all the cascading water, and what the fuck is that? I don't know what that was, but there was a blast of cold air, and I'm getting out of here.
pasa, Reina? Reina, despierta. Tengo miedo. ¿Qué fue eso, güey? Reina, ¿qué fue eso? Reina, se prendió por eso. Tengo miedo. Reina. Reina, tengo miedo. Vamos a ver qué es, Reina. Tengo miedo. Reina, seguro que vi la luz que se perdió.
Dump in the kitchen or something. I don't know. Tony, I don't know. Maybe we should go.
Wait. Was it down here? See anything?
I don't know what the kitten's doing.
Demon in My Niece's Room by Lacey P. This story is not my own experience, but it's from my 8-year-old niece, Emma. A few days ago, Emma and I were in my room hanging out and talking. I was asking some questions about how school was going, and if she still hung out with her certain group of friends. But the topic changed, and somehow she told me that one night she started to hear noises in her room. Now, I've never been the type of person to immediately attribute something to the paranormal, so I began to come up with logical reasons for myself and to make her feel less scared. Maybe it was just some people on the street talking. I explained to her. Her demeanor quickly changed and she shook her head. No, the voice was coming from inside my room. She glared at me, not a hint.
Reddit, the front page of the internet, an online bulletin board where you can find any and all stories, books, movies, fitness, the paranormal. So here's explain what happened that night. I was at a bonfire with my friends. We regularly did this because we lived in the middle of nowhere, and I guess setting shit on fire in a friend's yard was a good way to spend an evening. I was the only guy at this bonfire who was planning to stay the night.
Get $300 off Google Pixel 3 with Select Trade-In.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Big Question.
Stories Online. Call in your real ghost story now at 855-853-4802 or write in at realghoststoriesonline.com. You're about to enter the world of the unknown and quite possibly the undead. This is Real Ghost Stories Online.
Tonight we read a special request from the widow of a listener to our show. An EVP recording session invites two spirits into a home in Ireland, but what does this listener do now that he wants these spirits to leave? A trip after graduating high school is memorable for a daughter and her mother in Savannah, Georgia, and one listener admits that his hope to experience the paranormal may have brought on just that. Those stories, your calls, and more tonight on Real Ghost Stories Online. Tony and Jenny Brewski joining you once again.
Hello.
Hello. We're slowly emerging from the cold.
Let's not spend the first 10 minutes talking about our cold symptoms again.
Oh, come on. Let's talk about mucus. Let's talk about nasal passages and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
Yep. Post-nasal drip and all that.
That's always fun. Speaking of rips, no, I'm kidding. I'm just gonna end it right there and not bring up the dog.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, we love our puppy.
Yes, we do.
She's a good puppy. Hey, you like the show, make sure to tell a friend about it. Share a link on Facebook or Twitter. Your support is really what helps our show grow. So if you do enjoy the show, you're a longtime listener, please do keep sharing it with folks so it continues to grow just like it has, and your support is greatly appreciated. Our phone number is 855-853-4802. Of course, you probably already knew that. To call into the show here at Real Ghost Stories Online to share your real ghost story with us. You can do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Should we kick off the show today with a caller, or should we go to this letter that we got here, or should we wait a little ways in for that? What do you think?
Why don't we go ahead? It's kind of sad, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way, and then try and leave it on, I guess, some normal notes of weirdness that we experience.
Okay, this is it's an interesting letter. So this is coming to us from Alyssa. Alyssa writes into us here at Real Ghost Stories Online. Dear Tony and Jenny Brewski, I come to you in a very sad time in my life with a bit of a unique request. Let me give you some backstory. I'm an ER nurse at a fairly large hospital. My normal shift is third, but very often I find myself working 60 to 70 hours a week. I love my job and take great pride in helping people, but it put a great amount of stress on my marriage. Earlier this year, my husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and a few months back, my brother-in-law found him passed out in a diabetic shock. Ever since that day, it was like my husband was a different person. A once kind and loving man became very distant and on edge. He's very jumpy and always seems scared of his own shadow. I fear I was not there for him enough because of my long work hours, a decision I'll regret for the rest of my life. He became obsessed with the paranormal, and your show in particular. He would listen to you guys with an incredible intensity, as if he was waiting for you to say something that's finally going to release him from whatever mental prison he had put himself in. There was no talking to him when your show was on, period. A week ago on my day off, I was called into work second shift, 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. because another nurse took ill. I made it through a very hectic night, and around 12:30, I pull into my driveway. As I reached to the back seat to retrieve my purse, I saw a flash of bright light in the corner of my eye. I can best describe it like a flashbulb on an old camera. I gathered my stuff and hurried inside. This is really tough. I found my husband unresponsive in his reclining chair. I was not able to resuscitate him. I've talked it over with friends and coworkers and pretty much anyone who would listen to me talk, and I think my husband may have had a near-death experience that day we found him in the diabetic shock. Whatever did happen to him that night, it took something away from him. I can't help but wonder, was that light flash my husband's soul leaving his body? Tony and Jenny, I told you how intense my husband would listen to your show. I didn't tell you that I had an argument with him before I went to work that last night, and I said some mean things that I'll never be able to take back. My only hope, and I know this sounds silly, is that he is still listening to you guys. I beg you to read this on the show so I can let him know that I am sorry. To my husband, I'm so sorry that I was there for others when the love of my life needed me most. I miss you more and more each day that slowly. I can only hope that you are at peace, but no matter where you are, know that you will not always be alone. I will be by your side before you know it. Catch you on the flip side, honey. Thank you, Tony and Jenny.
We just want to express how sorry we are for your loss, and you know, that's such a touching request to us to know that we were such a big part of somebody's life that you'd reach out to us for that. You know, I kind of think once a listener, always a listener, so hopefully he's still tuning in and got the message.
Good news, we are being carried in heaven now.
We are? We
are officially being carried in heaven on Godcast. And we're up there.
Okay.
Hell, we're still working on. But in purgatory, not quite there yet. But we are being. But no, that is really touching. And thank you for writing in and sharing your story with us and sharing what was going on in those last couple days of your husband's life and those last couple weeks and months. You know, it makes me wonder if maybe he did have some sort of a near-death experience. I think that may be it, especially if he suddenly took up a real interest in the paranormal right after that. I could see that sparking on, or add to an already a smaller interest level before that incident, and then bam, what's going on after having that?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, and I could see him listening to our show, trying to see if someone would be able to share a similar story.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to find that story to relate to. So I'm glad. I mean, I hope that we gave him some enjoyment, in those last weeks and months. It's a horrible situation to be in. Our condolences are with, but thank you so much to you and to your husband for being a listener to the show. And I'm pretty confident to say he's probably getting your message.
Yeah.
From all of the stories that we hear on this show, I think the likelihood of him getting it is pretty high. So I hope that leaves you with some peace there. 855-853-4802 is the phone number to call into our show here at Real Ghost Stories Online. We'd love to hear your real ghost story. In fact, let's go to a caller right now. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, Tony and Jenny, this is Tom from Texas. And I'd just like to share a little story that my grandfather told me. And anyways, I went and visited him the other day and kind of got revised on the subject. And anyways, my grandfather, I'll start off by, he was born in 1945. And anyways, when he was growing up, his mom and dad and his 7 brothers and 1 sister, they all rolled around the United States in a station wagon, and what they would do is they'd go town to town, and they'd go to hardware stores or any place like that and say, hey, we will go door to door and sell your product for you, and we'll just take a little cut of it. And so that's pretty much how they made their living, and they'd go town to town. And anyways, back then it was still the highway system wasn't all that, and well, he said a lot of times they'd be on a road and it'd be woods on both sides, and so his brothers, they were a little older and they'd all go and they'd go hunting. Back then you could do stuff like that, nowadays you'd go to jail and be thrown in prison. But anyways, his brothers set off and to go rabbit hunting, and well, a couple hours had passed, and his father told my grandpa, who had to stay back because he was too young, to go get his brothers, go find his brothers, tell them to come back. And so he went through the woods, direction that they had headed, and said he got deep down in there and he yelled their names, and he heard, over here. So he ran over to where he heard the voice, said there was a type structure, Said he got on top of it, and he yelled their names again. And he said, from what seemed like straight underneath him came the words, go back. He said it was kind of authoritative, it wasn't malicious and demonic or anything, but just telling them, like, go back. And so my father said he proceeded to run his ass off to back to his dad, and anyways, he said as soon as he was running and got to the clearing to where he could see his mom and dad, he saw his brothers coming out from the opposite side of the woods. And he told his dad, he was freaking out, told his dad, and his dad told him, well, that was your guardian spirit telling you to go back, that there was danger. And so, I don't know, I just thought it was neat. Thought some other people might enjoy it. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I have several other stories, but I'll get to those later. Thanks. Love your show.
I think he was the inspiration for the original Clark W. Griswold.
You think so?
When I heard we were traveling around the country in a station wagon, the immediately thing that came into my head was Holiday Road. Just picturing this family going around the country in a station wagon selling tools or whatever they can get to sell. Anyhow, I think it was probably I don't know if it was a guardian spirit or if it was something that was not to have him there. When I hear something like get back or leave or get out, I mean, what comes to my mind is going back to like Amityville or something where, it's the dark voice, stern warning whoever it is, get away. A warning you should probably heed, by the way.
Well, and he was standing up on a sand dune type thing. It made me wonder if there wasn't something buried under that.
What's in the sand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, I believe it. It sounds pretty legit as to something that would happen in an odd situation. So, thank you for calling in and sharing that story with us. Our number again 855-853-4802 to call into Real Ghost Stories Online. If you want more ghost stories, you want to become an EPP. That's an extra podcast person. You get bonus episodes every single week. Get access to our complete archive of past EPP episodes and videos. It's only $5 a month. Plus, your support, it keeps our show afloat and alive. We're like the Walking Dead of ghost shows. It's amazing. But it can only be fueled with your brains. Actually, your $5 donation a month. So you can sign up at realghoststoriesonline.com.
So I saw something. Someday when we make it to Atlanta, and I insist we go on over to Savannah.
Yeah.
They have, outside of Atlanta, they have zombie tours where you go see the sets that they use, because they film all that there.
Yeah, the sets of Walking Dead.
Uh-huh.
That would be awesome.
You can see Terminus, and you can go to the town from, I forgot what the name of the town was, but the town where the governor was in charge.
Is that a real town that they used, or is it like a built-up town for the movie?
I think it's a built-up town, but I'm not positive.
It's one hell of a set, if that's a set town for a TV show.
Well, the prison was a set that they already took down.
It wasn't like an abandoned prison or anything?
Mm-mm.
It was
That
really?
was a set that they put up and took down.
Guessing
Because I
there's a
read
lot.
that. I think the town may be a town,
Okay. Wow.
but I definitely want to do that.
I would love to see that sometime.
Yeah.
Say something else so I can take a sip of water.
I need to go back and watch the old episodes. I've only seen since like season 3. And
Good.
but the thing is now though, if I go back and there's a character I don't recognize,
Which is like about 80% of the cast in the
I
first
just
season.
won't get emotionally attached to that character. I'll just be like, well, you're going to be food for the zombies soon.
There's
so.
some that have disappeared and popped back up.
Really?
Yeah. So we should go back. I'd love to go. It's been a long time since I've seen the initial episodes of that show. Anyhow, continuing on.
あの映像は大学の時に友人と樹海へ探検に行った時のものです。友人とは大学のオカルトサークルで知り合って、でもサークルはすぐに辞めちゃったんですけど、あいつとはすごく馬が